What's up, guys? Hope you're having a good day or night wherever you are. Tonight's just gonna be a super low-key video, just eating some chips and stuff while I answer some this or that questions I have up on my screen here. We're just gonna go through them. I'll give you my answers, of course, but feel free to comment down below if you want to answer any for yourself, or if you just want to let me know what you think. So let's just get right into it. We have some Lay's sour cream and onion chips here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Looks like it's coming up on the camera pretty well though. So yeah, we'll go ahead and open these. Try not to make a lot of noise, because I know these are very hard to open quietly. So I might just have to turn this down for you guys. There we go. That wasn't too bad, was it? Just dig in here. Go ahead and start. Let me bring up my questions here. Alright, so the first one is coffee or tea? Now, I get ganged up on a lot in this one because everybody drinks coffee. I personally think that tea is the better beverage, and I'll tell you why in just a sec. So of course they're both very hot drinks. They both have their respective qualities. I think coffee is better. And generally for just anyone that's looking for more productivity earlier on in the day. But I think tea is a very good, like, relaxing drink. It's very good for your throat. It's very good for your voice. I generally just like it better than coffee because it's a lot more, it feels a lot more invigorating at the end of a long day, you know? I've never really gotten too much into coffee. I know it has its benefits for some people, but, you know, I don't really feel like I need caffeine, you know? Sometimes I'll, like, pop open a bottle of soda if I need something, or, you know, just like a bottle of juice or something, but I never really feel like I need coffee, you know, unless like I really just, I need a rush or something like that. But it's like, I already have Adderall, I can just use that instead. I don't really need the caffeine boost like a lot of people do in the morning. And I'm just generally not very much of a morning person. You know? Like, I feel like it takes a lot to kind of get up early in the morning and really just wake up and do all this stuff and get ready. You know, I want to sleep in. You know, I don't really take like many early classes in school. You know, I have a work schedule where I can, you know, still sleep in and catch work at a good time, you know. So I'm just not really too much of a coffee drinker. Honestly, I don't really need it. It's just never really been something that I feel like I've needed to drink, and it's never really something I've really wanted to make a routine, you know. So, that being said, that's kind of more like why I don't like coffee. But that's really not like the entire reason why I love tea so much more. Like, because I don't like coffee is not why I love tea, right? I like tea because it's just so flavorful. With coffee, you always kind of have that, like, I'm gonna get real with you guys here. It's kind of like alcohol, where no matter what you mix it with, or like what you chase it with, or like, or how you flavor it, it'll always like have an aspect that tastes the same. Like, you know how you always have, for anybody who's ever like tasted any kind of alcohol, anything with it, like, you know how you can always taste that heavy, like, flavor, in the back of the drink, right? I feel like you have a lot of that with coffee. With tea, I feel like there's never any like super consistent like flavor. Um, and I think that's really, really, really beautiful thing about tea is it's kind of just a hot drink you can have. There's so many different flavors, so many different kinds you can have. Of course, it's the same with coffee as well. Um, you know, you can flavor coffee and make it all kinds of different things, that it wasn't before, but I just feel like there's still a lot more of a variety with tea, and I like that. And I generally like something that, you know, where I can choose if it has like caffeine or, you know, any other properties like that, like, for energizing myself, or if I just want like more of a calm drink to go to sleep with, and tea is kind of the go-to there. So yeah, I kind of like tea a lot more than coffee in that aspect. I feel like it's just a lot better of a drink to relax with, but it can also be used like in a similar sense to energize yourself, or help you just bring out that productivity that you feel like you didn't really have there before. So yeah, hopefully I justified that enough to you coffee lovers, and we can move on to the next question here, which is summer or winter. Now, I have a lot of different thoughts on this. Being somebody who lives in the southeastern region of the United States, I have a lot of hot summers in my book already. And really, I can tell you that they're not enjoyable. Not at all. Honestly, I hate to really zero in already on the negative aspects of summer. But it really just is an all around just hot, dreary, just really awful time of the year for my region. That being said, I do really like, the beaches. I live really close to the coast here, so it's really nice time of year to just, go down, lay on the beach with your friends. It's really nice time to do that. It's nice because you're off school as well, if you're not like big into, working yet, especially if you're in like high school, maybe college, and you have a little bit of money to fall back on. You can clear up a little bit of time in your summer. You can go to the beach. You can do all sorts of stuff with friends. Just, big time for, younger people to kind of branch out, have fun. So I understand why you would like it for that. As I've gotten older, I love winter a lot more. I just love the colder weather. I'm half Canadian, so it's kind of just in the blood. I'm just naturally with the cold weather like that. But I like colder weather a lot more. And that basically just sums up like summer or winter for me. I like the summer culture. I like the beach trips. I like being able to go outside, do whatever. But like where I'm at, I can do that just as easily, like in the spring and the fall. Like most of the year is still fairly sunny and, fairly hot for me. So I can really just go do that stuff whenever I have time. It really just comes down to, is it like 70-degree sunny weather, or is it like 100-degree sunny weather with insane, like, what do you call it? Like where it's just very like humid. It's still pretty humid here down south, like year round, but I don't feel like it, I just don't feel like our summers do any justice for the weather down here, so, yeah. Honestly, I would have to choose winter I just love the cold season. I love just sitting inside, watching TV with the family, making tea, and the holidays too. Like, you can't beat the holidays during the winter. I know that's a very cliche thing for a lot of people, but I really do enjoy the holidays and just like spending time with people and just all the good stuff that comes with that. I think we can kind of transition into the next question here because it kind of has the same premise, but it's beach vacation or mountain retreat. No. Sorry, that was a really big chip and I had to struggle to get it in my mouth for a minute there. I told you guys this video was going to be very low-key. I'm just kind of eating and talking here. But beach or mountains is a very interesting question for a lot of people. Because I feel like there's a lot of different factors that play into just a vacation in the first place, I feel like it's honestly, it just kind of depends what you're looking for in a vacation. I feel like with the beach, you have, stuff to consider like, would you like to rent a place that's right off the beach? Or are you going to maybe an area that's close to the coast and you have like just easy access to the beach? You also got to think about, are you going to be on a public beach, a private beach? Are you going to be on a accessible beach that's not as crowded? I for one, like a pretty open beach. Not a big problem with crowds. I know public beaches are big and everybody's going to go to them during the summer, and that's just going to be something you have to look out for. But I do like more of a quiet beach day where I can really just spend time with the people I'm going there with and have fun with them. So if it's more of a thing where it's like that and we're like renting a beach house and whatever, I would say beach. But honestly, you can't ever really go wrong with the mountains trip. Here in the US, and maybe not the southeast as much, but places like the Midwest, and especially out west, there's just a lot of beautiful, beautiful, beautiful places for a mountains trip. So honestly, I could go either way on that question. It really just depends on who I'm going on the trip with, what I'm looking for with the trip. Again, like I think a lot of that just has to do with what are you looking for out of a vacation, and is the mountains or the beach going to give you more of that thing? I also like traveling to a lot of different places. I don't just like going to the beach or the mountains. I love going to like cities, historic areas, new regions of like the US or Canada that I want to explore, or more like just travel more in depth there. So but yeah, I think that really kind of sums up that one. So moving on to dogs or cats now. A whole bunch of you are about to get mad when I say this, but I honestly like cats more than dogs, and I'll explain why. Because that might surprise a lot of people. I know there's like, I feel like the vast majority of people love dogs more than cats, but I feel like that's just because dogs are like much more of a common house pet, at least from what I've seen around here where I live. Pretty much every other house in the suburbs has a dog. I don't think you can really go wrong with either pet. I love dogs, but they are a lot to take care of, and I will say cats are a very therapeutic pet, that are a lot easier to kind of take care of in that aspect. And I just think, with, being as busy as I am, I do enjoy cats a lot more because they are just a lot less of a hassle. And, I've owned cats all my life. I've never really owned, like, a family dog. Of course, I've had a bunch of friends that have had dogs and stuff, but I've never really, like, owned my own dog. Maybe owning a dog would change my opinion, but I don't know. I just kind of like cats more right now. So that's really just the answer to that. It's not, much more simple than that. So moving on to reading a book or watching a movie. I'll have to think about that for a sec. Because I really enjoyed reading books more as a kid for the story. I still read books today, but a lot less than I used to, and more for like informational stuff. But really, I enjoy watching movies more now. I feel like as I've gotten more into cinema, it's been a lot easier to like appreciate like stuff like drama films, period pieces, just stuff that I really didn't enjoy as a kid. I mean, a lot of the series and stuff that I read, like I read some of the Harry Potter series. I know I never finished it, but like I had almost already grown out of it by the time I started reading. I more read stuff like the Percy Jackson series, the 39 Clues, stuff like that. That was like, what else did I read? That was big. What other series? Diary of a Wimpy Kid, of course, but like, I read all the like, scholastic stuff, the book fair series, and all of that stuff. I don't know like how big of a thing this was, but like if you guys like went to public school in the U.S., they had like these book fairs and stuff that they'd have like once a year in like the elementary schools, and it would basically just be like a traveling thing. I think where they'd like set up in the library, and you like get all sorts of books and stuff, and it was based on like all of these super popular series. I feel like when I was growing up, like very late 2000s, early 2010s kind of era, I feel like that was such a great time to be into like kids books. Because again, there's stuff like Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, all kinds of that stuff that was just really popular back then, and like I ate all that up as a kid. But honestly, like back then, I was honestly pretty split on books and movies. But right now, I think I appreciate movies a lot more. And to be honest, it's just a lot more easy for me. With the attention span that I have to get into a movie, rather than a book. Although if there is a really good book that I want to read, I will read it. I'm not opposed to reading or anything like that. I haven't stopped reading necessarily. I just watch a lot more movies than I read books nowadays. So, moving on to the next question, which is city life or countryside living. Now, I'm a lot more biased towards the city life in this question. I'm going to be taking a very strong position on city life, and I'm going to go ahead and say that I've lived in the suburbs all my life. It's not fun. I don't like it here. It's for some people. It's not for me. I do not like the quiet life. I love the big bustling city. It's just my thing. I'd love to live somewhere like, in a downtown area, sometime in like Montreal, Ottawa. That's really where like I want to move, ultimately, but that's way, way, way in the future. I'm still in the suburbs right now, obviously, but I do plan to move to a larger city or something like that in the future. I don't like, the quiet country life. It's really just personal preference. I get why people like the suburbs. I get why people like the country, but it's really just like, I'm just so biased towards the city. Um, you know, I've traveled to so many. They're so fun. Um, it's just in the place I live. There's always a lack of stuff going on, and I feel like living, not even living in a city, just closer to one is like so much better than, you know, living out in the middle of nowhere. You know, it's just I feel like that's just, you know, the young person in me right now, you know, looking for stuff to do, looking for all these new life experiences. And so, you know, maybe that'll change in like 10 or 20 years, but, you know, I'm huge on city life. um, I love cities, urban areas. I'm just a sucker for them. That's honestly all it is. um, yeah, so that was pretty easy to answer. We can go on to the next one. Early bird or night owl? Another really easy question. I am a night owl for life. You know, if I didn't ramble on about it enough in the coffee or tea question, I stay up super, super late and wake up super, super late. So, not like an insane amount. Like, the latest I go to bed is usually like 2, 3 a.m., and usually I wake up like 10 or 11 on days where I can sleep in. Of course, you know, that changes with different stuff. You know, I have stuff earlier in the morning a couple times a week, so, you know, I'll go to sleep earlier for that. But honestly, like, it's not really that complicated. I just go to sleep a lot later than everyone else, and I wake up a little bit later than everyone else, so yeah, I'm a super big night owl. So let's move on to something a bit more complicated. Texting or calling? So, I feel like this one is a lot less about personal preference, more about like, more about like who you're talking to in what situational context. You know, if I'm like reaching out to my boss about something, I would want to call them. But, you know, if I'm like trying to figure out like what to do with a friend this weekend, I'd rather text them and just have them respond, you know, whenever's convenient for them, you know? Like, I feel like that's a huge thing that this question is kind of missing here. But honestly, my kind of go-to means of communication is texting. But if, you know, the opportunity to call is there, I guess I think I'd rather call, just because it's easier to kind of like, you know, actually talk to a person instead of having to text them. And like, you know, with text you completely like lose the tone of the conversation. It's like, yeah, it's weird, especially when you're like getting to know somebody and you have to text them, and it's like, oh dude, like I'd much rather call people when I'm getting to know somebody online as well. Like, I feel like that's something else a lot of people don't like to admit, but it's so much. Sorry, I can't talk tonight. It's just so much easier to call somebody than text them, and if you actually want like a substantial conversation. Moving on, camping or staying in a cozy cabin. Honestly, I could go either way with this one as well. I've been on a lot of camping trips. I've slept in a lot of cozy cabins, and honestly, I can say that both are pretty fun. Camping might seem very overwhelming, especially people in my generation, because like half of us never really go outside, let's be real. But like, camping is pretty fun if you have all the right materials and you're going with the right people, you know? You just gotta have the right stuff and be prepared, and, you know, be going to a place where, you know, it isn't like super, super cold or super, super hot. If you're gonna go camping, especially for like your first time, I'd recommend like more of a moderate climate. You know, you don't want to be like in too cold weather or too hot weather. If you really want to enjoy sleeping outside, but honestly, like I know most people would say cozy cabin, but I'm really just indifferent on that one. So I guess I'll just go ahead and move on to cooking at home or dining out. No. For those of you that know me, I cannot cook. My dinner tonight was microwaved fried chicken and this. So, yeah, definitely dining out. If I can afford it, of course. I'm aware that dining out is a serious expense. It adds up super quickly, and food is like not even worth the price in most places nowadays. So as for what I would like rather do, would probably rather eat out. But cooking at home is a lot more affordable. And honestly, if I need to give up an extra few minutes just to cook something simple, I will. But I would honestly prefer eating out because anything I cook is not gonna be that great. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not a good cook. Anyway. Alright, I actually had to cut there, real quick, and I lost my appetite a little bit, so we're gonna go ahead and crack open this strawberry Dr. Pepper, and just, sip on the drink while we answer a few more of these. So next one up is music concert or theater performance. So I will say that being a theater kid makes me a bit more biased on this one, as I'm always willing and down to go see any type of theater performance at really any level of profession. It's always fun to like see, like any friends in shows or anything like that. It's never like not fun going to see a show, right? But like, I've gone and seen like tons and tons of shows and even performed in quite a few as well. But I've only been to a couple of music concerts. So I'd have to see like more live concerts, like live music, or something like that. On like a larger level, like I'd have to like go and see like actual artists, or something like that to really have like a solid answer to that question. But honestly, like as far as like a this or that goes, because I have to choose one answer, right? I'd probably choose music concert, just because I've seen like a lot less of them. I want to experience more concerts in the future, and I want to see like more live music just in general, because live music is fun. I love live music. I love like when I'm able to like sing along and like actually experience music with other people. That's very fun, and I feel like that's why I enjoy like a lot of musicals as well. I guess those, you know, count as theater performances. Like if you want to like include, I don't know, like whether you want to talk about like plays or musicals, I think they're all like worthy of being called like theater performances. So, like I guess musicals are kind of the same in that sense, but honestly, I would say like I'm indifferent. But if I had to choose, like probably I would want to see more like actual like live music concerts. That would be really really cool. So. Oh, that is a really good Dr. Pepper. I needed that today. Moving on is fiction or nonfiction books. Another thing I'm pretty indifferent about. I've read a lot of both, but honestly, I'm always down for a good story, so probably fiction. We've already kind of talked about like what books I read, like between like as a kid and now, so that's a pretty one or done question. Next one is, oh well, that's morning person or night person, and I guess it's that's literally just early bird or night owl too. So I mean, you guys already know I'm a night person, big night owl. So yeah, that was pretty easy. Action-packed movie or a romantic comedy? Depends on who you're watching with. If I'm with the boys, action movie for sure. You know, if I'm chilling with my partner, probably rom-com. However, if I'm like watching a movie with like family or something, if I'm watching a movie with family, like usually something like a comedy or like a drama will hold me over. But yeah, again, it really just depends on who I'm watching it with. Um, I'm not like a movie buff or anything, but I really enjoy pretty much anything as long as it has some kind of substance. I'll really just watch any type of movie, of any genre, and I'll still find a way to enjoy it. So, next one is going to be a lot more interesting. Travel by plane or road trip? I love both, but honestly, if the road trip is anything more than like 4 or 5 hours, I like flying better. It's just a lot more convenient. It can be a lot easier depending on where you're going, who you're going with, what you're trying to bring. Sometimes it can be better to just stick it out for the long road trip, but honestly, for you know anything that's not more than a week long, I like flying. This past summer, I flew to San Francisco. The drive over there from where I am on the East Coast would have been about 3 or so days, and that's like without traffic and all that stuff, and just it's a lot easier for like trips like that to fly. Um, so honestly, I would say it's circumstantial, but overall, I do enjoy traveling by plane a lot more. I just love you know, just going 35,000 feet up in the air to travel somewhere. And it's just a lot faster. It's always just so cool to like see what it looks like above the clouds, and just I always enjoy flying. It's something I've been doing since I was like really, really small. So that's really more of my preferred mode of travel. So next one is gonna be yoga or jogging for exercise. So I've never been too like into fitness, but I honestly would have to say, jogging is a lot better for me. For any type of like exercise, or like any type of like cycling simulation. Um, you know, I don't exercise a lot, but when I do, I don't skip leg day. So I just yoga's a lot more for like people with a calmer mindset or like old people. Let's be real. I mean, I'm just kidding. I know yoga has its like applications and in it's different use cases, but like I just like jogging a lot more. When I want to feel a little bit of a rush. But anyway, I don't really have too much of an opinion there because I don't really exercise a lot. So, sunrises or sunsets? Honestly, I have to say I do really enjoy the sun setting, but sunrises are just, I don't know what it is about the sun rising that's just so much more pretty than the sunset. But like for the sunrises that I am able to catch, we already went over that I'm a night owl, so I don't get to catch a lot of sunrises in my daily schedule. But seeing the sunrise, like waking up very, very, very early, or like pulling a crazy all-nighter or something, I don't know what it is. It's always just so much more of like a refreshing feeling to just catch the sunrise and just see it come up. At least that's just kind of sorry, had to get that carbonation out. That's just always kind of how I've enjoyed it. So yeah, honestly, sunrises for the win there. Next one is summer barbecue or winter holiday feast. Um, I like the winter holiday feast a lot more, just because my family's a lot more consistent with that than they are like a summer barbecue. Like, I'm always down for like a big barbecue with friends and whatever, but I like the winter holiday feast more when it's more of like an intimate kind of family thing, and you know, you just kind of, you know, stay in, watch Christmas movies and stuff, and or you know, whatever you celebrate. My family personally celebrates Christmas, so that's usually what we do. You know, in the winter holidays, and we'll usually eat on like Christmas Eve and Christmas and have like a really nice dinner and stuff. So you know that, like, I have a lot of core memories there. But you know, maybe a lot of people like have a lot more like barbecues throughout the year, or you know, less like holiday oriented stuff. So like, I understand that. You know, I like the appeal behind summer barbecues, and you know, I've been to like a bunch of pool parties and stuff, and you know, I'm all over burgers and dogs, but honestly, like, between the two, I would really just prefer like a winter holiday feast. It's just so much more like seasonal, festive, you know, and just I like that's a consistent part of my year that I like a lot. So yeah, I'm probably gonna go with that there. Let's see, classic art or contemporary art. That is actually a really hard one, because I am an appreciator of a lot of different types of art. You know, I like art in all of its different forms. I would honestly have to say contemporary, just because it's just a lot more fluid of an answer. I feel like that would really convey my appreciation of art to a point where it's like to be understood. Like, cause yes, I do enjoy a lot of classic art as well, but I feel like contemporary is like more of a, you know, kind of more of an umbrella for the art that I enjoy. If you understand like what I'm trying to get at there. So yeah, I would really have to go with contemporary. So next one is comedy show or drama. And I would have to say a comedy show. As much as I love dramas, and I love watching them, I do like something I can, you know, sit back and laugh at a lot more, because it's just, you know, when I have like a hard day, I'd much rather sit down and watch something that, you know, is lighthearted, is gonna make me laugh, and you know, I just tend to watch a lot more comedy than I do drama. Honestly, I have nothing against drama. I like dramas. It's just I like laughing a lot more than I do like an intriguing story on TV. You know, if drama is something I'm looking to watch, I'll, you know, actively seek out and watch drama. But you know, it's just not really the mood most nights. You know, I'm just a lot more of a comedy enjoyer. So, yeah, I'd have to go with a comedy show. Next one is going to be mobile games or board games. So I don't play a lot of mobile games, other than like maybe two. So I'm just going to go with like video games or board games, and I think that's also situational. I play video games a lot more, but like if I'm with like family or friends or something, and you know, we're trying to have a good time, you know, sometimes board games are the move. You know, I do love board games, you know, but I'm probably gonna have to go with like video games there, because I just play them a lot more, and there's like so many more video games that you can play like on your own, rather than board games that you can't really play a lot of on your own. So, I guess it's more situational in that aspect, but I'd really ultimately, yeah, have to say video games. All right, so moving on to our last couple of questions here. We got coffee shop or quiet library for studying. And honestly, I would say coffee shop. And I really do like I actually really prefer like a cafe style environment like a Panera rather than like a quiet library, like a dead quiet library. Because while I'm studying, maybe I want to like eat, drink, watch videos in the background, and I'll have my headphones in. So like, maybe I just won't realize like how loud I am, like in a quiet library. So I think there's a lot of anxiety for me there, and like it's just easier to work in a place where everybody's just kind of at like a moderate volume level, because like nobody's gonna be like loud and wild in a cafe, but you're gonna have people coming through. It's gonna be a bustling environment, and honestly, like I need some background noise when I study. If I have to have a quiet environment, usually I'll just stay in my room. I don't really like going to the library or anything to study. So honestly, that's really my answer. I like my background. I like my, again, big city environments. So, I think that really rounds up that answer for me. Going on to the next question, it's going to be vintage fashion or modern fashion. I don't really know, honestly. I have a very simple like fashion sense. Like I'm really good at throwing on some jeans, throwing on like a casual jacket or a hoodie or something, and kind of just calling it a day there with my style. And usually I pull off a very casual style very well. So I'd honestly have to say like modern fashion, but I'm a huge sucker for like any like vintage styles that I can pull off that will like actually look good for like a good price. I don't usually like spending like too much money on clothes. I've been like veering a lot more towards like shopping secondhand. Ever since I've started college, and it's just a lot more easy to kind of like shop secondhand. So I'm a lot more like versatile as far as my style goes. I don't really fall into like one category as far as again, I cannot talk tonight. I apologize, but I don't really fall into like any certain category as far as like fashion goes. I'm really just a sucker for any style that looks good on me, and if that's a vintage style or a modern style, it honestly makes no difference for me. I guess it really just depends on where I'm going, who I'm with. Again, I think it's just like a lot of these are just situational. But I do fall more into like a modern fashion bracket where I'm like, again, I'll just, dress in something super casual. And it also, like, I guess it depends on what you define as vintage. Some people define, like, you know, early 1900s as vintage, and some people are like, oh, well, 90s and 2000s are vintage now. And I'm like, okay, that's crazy. But, like, it really just depends on what your definition of vintage is, personally. But yeah, I guess you could say that I'm more of a modern fashionista. And that will move us into our last question here, which will be rainy indoors or sunny days outdoors. So, I've got to say, rainy days indoors, probably. You know, I do, make time to go outside a lot. And, I enjoy going outside, but I really do enjoy my rainy days where I can just kind of kick back and relax inside. I generally just like rainy weather a lot more than sunny weather. Again, I think that's kind of why I like winter a lot more than the summer, because it's, nice, calm, and just, dreary, and, you know, just you can't really go wrong with a nice, quiet, rainy day. As long as it's not like crazy, severe thunderstorms and the wind's about to knock your house down. I like my quiet, rainy days indoors. Um, yeah, I think I've kind of summed up really how I feel. But, well, sorry, I'm like trying to think about what I'm saying here, but it's not coming out of my brain. Like, I think that really kind of summarizes where I fall as far as like weather and just vibes go. As far as like the time of year and the weather goes. So, that is about all of the this or that questions I have to answer today. I hope you guys enjoyed this style of video. I kind of just sit back, I just eat a little bit and talk at the camera. I know there wasn't anything like really riveting. I just don't want this video to seem like lazy or anything, but a lot of you have been requesting that I try more eating noises or like rambling or something like that. So this is kind of just my attempt at that. So sorry, I'm still getting the carbonation through my system. I probably should not have chose like a soda pop or anything to drink for this video. So yeah, hopefully this video finds you guys well, and I'll see you next time.